All right, welcome back, everybody. It's definitely a very interesting week in the markets today. As always, we're going to cover the market indexes, key rotation, key stocks, and key themes to watch out for the next week. A lot happened this week. As I mentioned, the S&P 500 hit a new all-time high. The IWM here on Friday put in a very strong statement bar here, breaking back through the 21 EMA above these highs right here. And we're going to cover all of that in just a minute. But I do want to say that this is brought to you by DeepView. We've got a special offer for 2 months for $39. That's the platform that you see right here. We'll cover a lot of cool features, including the heat maps, performance charts, data panel feature that we just added to the dashboard. There's so much to offer here. So if you want to check that out, the link is down below in the description. I also want to mention that if you want kind of my daily thoughts, I have a free newsletter. The link to that is down below. And I cover the same thing, key indexes, rotation, themes, all of that, as well as setups and key stocks analyzed every single day. Usually about 10 to upwards of 30 charts there, sharing my thoughts, ideas, all of that. So the link to that is down below, and we'll be kind of using that to speed up the process here as we go through a lot of different charts. But first things first, again, QQQ really compressed to end out this week. We're right near this key level. So watching for a potential push up here on volume, breaking through this level. Ideally, Monday we push out. We'll see what happens. We're trending above that 10 EMA here. Bulls want to see, as I mentioned, us push out and continue higher. Bears want to see us undercut these lows and retrace back towards that 21 EMA. The IWM, again, put in that statement bar. I also want to highlight IBIT, which reclaimed that 21 EMA. We had an expectation breaker, meaning we had a gap up after a poor close, and we reclaimed that 21 EMA, and hopefully this can get going. This is within a longer term consolidation. This is just kind of the right-hand side of that, but we'll be watching this closely next week to see what happens. Getting into some key themes, all of that. This is kind of my ETF watch list on both a price percent change current week that's plotted over here, and then a price percent change over the past 20 days. All of these performance charts are completely configurable. You can, plot whatever you want. All of these different data points you can select, and it updates in real time throughout the day. But here at the end of the week, I like to see, what performed the best, what themes are performing the best. Up here, we've got hack. Stuff like cybersecurity that performed really well. You had moves in CrowdStrike, Net, Sentinel, BRRK. I forget the exact symbol of the recent IPO, but that theme is definitely one to watch going forward. You had semis up there. They performed well, of course, with NVDA, which we'll cover in just a minute. And you've got some others up here as well. And then on a 20-day basis, that's kind of, my midterm time frame. We've, of course, got the China names that have been acting super strong off the bottom, as well as some energy names up here. IBIT here, interesting. There's a lot of movements there, but this gives you a sense of kind of where the money is flowing overall. And another way you can identify rotation in DeepView is our actual industry, sub-industry, and sector ranks. I've got the daily ones here, weekly, monthly, and 3-month. And then we've got the sub-industry rank in this row. We've got the group rank, which is a little bit, higher level than that. And then the sector rank, also down here as well. So you can kind of see the different ranks. I like taking a look at both the weekly and monthly, and as well as that 3 months to get kind of that overall perspective about what's been really, really strong. And for me, I care most about the group rank. Is the stock that I'm focused on in a strong group? The industry groups, that's also helpful as well. But sometimes these can move a little bit quickly. So really I'm looking at the groups and just to see what's powerful on a 1 week basis, as well as 1 month basis as well. But this is a cool kind of layout that you can make with the data panels. Heat map, this is today, S&P 500, current week. So you can see what was strongest. Uber, of course, had a nice move, gap up today after the Tesla news. But you can see overall, you're seeing some movement into software down here as well, ground transportation, and a transition out of some of the REITs and utilities. So it's kind of interesting to see all that rotation right there for you. So with that said, now that we've covered kind of the leading groups and really the areas I'm watching are crypto related names, MSTR, great move. We'll take a look at that chart in just a minute. Software in the growth space, as well as, social media with Reddit. That's something I'm focused on, as well as some kind of names like CAVA that, are growing very, very strong and are already in a sustained trend. So that's kind of where I'm focused on currently in my own trading. So with that said, let's dive into some key names, and we'll go ahead and close some of these bars, and we'll go ahead and switch over to this data panel and talk through some individual names. So first things first, if we go down to NVIDIA, this daily chart, obviously up the right-hand side of a base, we had a nice move over the past 10 days or so. The, low risk entries were against this area here where we had found support, pushed higher, then pulled back to that area. This also lines up with the anchored VWAP from this key reversal day. And then also on the gap and go, you can manage risk at that 10 EMA. So that's where the low risk entries here. Up here, it's harder to manage risk. You manage risk against, this horizontal level, but we're a little bit short-term extended. So I would like to see this build out for, one more week and then push higher before we test these highs. But obviously, NVIDIA will do what it will do, and we'll just have to see what happens next week. And bringing up the weekly chart, you can see we're kind of in the first, one base, two base, kind of third stage base, if you want to call this one here, which is kind of the turning point. Another base is fourth stage, but we're a little bit longer in the tooth in this trend. But, we continue to act well. This company continues to innovate, bring new products, and they are the leader in this AI theme semiconductors right now. So we'll see what happens, but strong action so far and a push through this kind of key level. Moving on down, we of course had Tesla with the gap down. We had a leak below the 21 EMA, upside reversal here on Thursday, but then the gap down on the actual news of the event. We'll see how this shapes up. Overall on a monthly chart, this still looks decent, but is it the best opportunity right now, or does this chart need a little bit of time to heal? It'll be interesting to see if we hold near this close and near this low, and if we do so, we could have kind of a reversal back up to fill this gap. But we'll have to see if it does that or just kind of leaks lower and just needs a lot more, time to chop around before it sets up again. But interesting to see, how tight it was on the 21 EMA. And then, of course, we got that gap down. Meta, this has been super, super strong. Let's bring this up on the weekly as well. This has been really good. Let me actually type that in right. There we go. Really nice base pretty much since, late January, February of this year. And it's been basing until September. And now we're just kind of 4 weeks into this move. So when we've got a big base like this, we can have long sustained moves. So this just looks like the beginning and just progressing super nicely. And I expect this to trend above a rising 10-week moving average. Moving on, we've got MSCR. This has been really strong. This isn't the base highs here. These are just kind of the intermediate, base highs, but very strong action. Let's bring up a weekly on that. There we go. So there's the breakouts through these highs. These are the kind of key highs I was talking about. Very strong action. And really, if you go back to this chart, the low risk buy points were against the 10 EMA here, just below, after it was rejected down, regrouped at that 10 EMA, pushed higher. So acting on this day would have been a low risk entry versus the 10 EMA. And then on this last pullback, if you manage risk against the 10 EMA, you could have gone in, or on the gap and go, managing risks on an opening range breakout or similar other setup. But this looks really strong. It's kind of leading the crypto growth theme. So this will be one to watch going forward, as it's just breaking out of a pretty massive base. And if Bitcoin really gets going, this is basically just a leverage play on, that asset. So that's my thoughts on MSCR. Looks pretty strong, and definitely, this theme is a focus. Affirm, really nice action, really nice tight area down here near the key level. This is resistance from prior price action. Could have entered as it broke out of that, retested, reclaimed, and then also really nice tight flag the last 2 days and reconfirming here today. Really good action. So nice action. This is more of a swing trade type name, but had a nice setup this week. Uber, nice gap out of the space. It's interesting that, Tesla unveiled the AI robo taxis, and then Uber gaps up, and Tesla gaps down. That's just kind of how the stock market works sometimes, but really nice action, good volume as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this name in the coming weeks. This is also a pretty large base, so we could get a nice trend out of this move. SYM, just want to point out another really nice tight range that RMV identified. RMV is relative measured volatility. There's an entire webinar I've done on the DeepView channel on that indicator and how to use it. And you can not only use it to analyze charts and analyze those tight areas really easily, but you can also screen by it. So instead of wasting time and trying to find VCPs, you can actually screen for them using this indicator. So a really nice move, I think plus 25% from this tight area. So this can be really powerful for swing trade type entries, or if you're just trying to manage risk into position trades, you can of course use this as well in whatever stock you're using it on. So that is SYM. UPST, another example. RMV went to 0 yesterday, showing this tight area and nice breakout from this consolidation here today, and watching for fall through and the start of a nice trend. You also had a tight area down here that would have been an even earlier entry where you manage risk against the range lows or even the 21 EMA, and then you're the 21 EMA is now above your cost down here, and you're just kind of managing the position with those open profits ready there for you. TEM, this is a newer IPO that I'm still watching. Just kind of basing at this point. This is a key level here. We found support back there. I want to see this pop back through the 21 EMA, an Oliver Kell wedge pop. Until that happens, it's just kind of trending down for now. So we'll have to see what happens with the stock. But it's AI, healthcare, interesting theme, and definitely a name just to kind of have on the radar. Reddit, I own this. Acting really well, just holding that 10 EMA, reconfirming today. So nice action. Downside reversal on this day. So we'll see if this leads to a little bit more weakness. I wouldn't mind to see it build out a little bit more, and then I want to see it kind of push higher, break through these highs, and really start a nice sustained trend. Yeah, that's RDDT. BEKE, this is related to the China names, China themes as well. It's one of the stronger ones. Pulled back to this key level, reconfirmed off it today. PDD also had a nice move today, but this theme is very powerful, got a lot of potential, but there's a lot of risk because there's a lot of gap down risk. You don't know what's going to happen. So more of a day trade type scenario, and if you're just a classic can slim swing trader, position trader, that's your bread and butter. Just ignore this and focus on your area of competency, and just focus on that. Competency, I can't say that word. SE, really nice action, reconfirming today from this tight area. Looks good. A really nice low versus buy point that I identified back near the 21 EMA. RMV going to 0 right here. And the benefit of buying when RMV, or from an area where RMV went to 0 or very low under 10, is that you can manage risk really tightly, often at a moving average at the low of the range. And if it works, you can get a nice explosive move and be at a profit pretty much right away. So that's kind of the benefit of trading from tight areas. Z, breaking this DTL, not the strongest stock in the market, but the home builders and kind of home related names have been strong and a theme over the past few months. And this one just reclaimed that 21 EMA. CORT highlighted this as more of a swing trade type setup. A nice move from this base. It's more of a fast mover and just forming a shelf against that 10 EMA. If it breaks that 10 EMA and breaks these lows, you want to ignore it, but looking for a push higher on volume. Duolingo, actionable back in this area against the key level. Again, RMV went to 0 right before it started pushing higher, and now just forming another shelf. RMV going back to 0. Very tight action here under this key level. So we'll see if we maybe get a shakeout below 10 EMA, reclaim upside reversal. That would be great. Kind of looking like CAVA a few days ago. That would actually be ideal versus just a breakout through this level. I'd much prefer a shakeout, maybe to that 21 EMA, reclaim the 10 EMA, and then push higher following through than just it going. But we'll actually have to go and see what happens. But really nice growth from this name. CPNG, again, tight area, a little bit China related, so keep that in mind. CEG, both this and VST had really powerful moves, very similar action, undercutting, reclaiming the recent lows. Powerful off that 21 EMA, so watching for fall through these highs into next week. VST, looks almost identical. These are trading the same theme. ONON tight against that 21 EMA, watching for reconfirmation higher. RKLB, more of a fast mover, just kind of flagging, watching to see continuation up. And ASTS, another one that's more of, it's been on a massive move. Now it's kind of first major base, and now it's just kind of chopping around down here versus that key level. So watching for a reclaim that 21 EMA, lines up with this downward trend line as well. I don't like that we're below the 50 SMA at this point, but in order for it to go on another nice run from this base, it needs to reclaim that 21 EMA first. So we'll see when that happens. So that's pretty much the names I wanted to go through. Overall market thoughts, good widespread action this week as a whole. Semis were strong, tech was strong, software names were strong, and names are just kind of surfing the 21 and 10 EMAs. Going back to Deep View, let's see if there's any other names I really wanted to highlight here or stuff I wanted to show in real time here. Obviously, we've got MSTR. Let's go back to a daily chart. Again, really nice action. This is the key level I was watching. Really nice form to base. And this looks just like the start of a powerful move. And this one, when it goes, can really go. So you don't need too much of this to, first of all, feel it on down days in your portfolio, or hopefully profit from it during a nice trend. Let's see if there's any other names I want to go through. GGAL. This has been nice off the 21 EMA, swing trade opportunity, really powerful off these lows, pull back to 21 EMA, kind of my bread and butter setup, compression against the 21 EMA, and a nice push higher, fall through every single day. Futu, again, China related. You've got that huge gap down. You've got a range forming. Who knows if this gaps up or gaps down? There's a lot of added risk with these names, but this was a powerful move higher. Let's see. I do want to bring up CAVA just because I mentioned that. This was the upside reversal I was kind of talking about with Duolingo. If we got something like that, that would be awesome. But we basically get a shakeout below the lows, strong reclaim of the moving average, as well as the HVC area, 21 EMA, and then we get fall through to the upside. Now it's just going tight and trending above that 10 EMA. Ideally, we kind of get something like that with Duolingo. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover here today, but let me know your thoughts down below. Actually, here's the cybersecurity IPO that I couldn't remember the name, RBRK, Rubric Inc. You can see really nice tight area here, subtle tight area against the 21 EMA, and then just exploded higher. And this is up, 19% in just, 3-4 days and testing these highs. But, classic can slim traders will tell you, this is the base pivot. This is where you want to be buying, but you don't want to be, you can't manage risk up here. You want to be buying at a tight area up the right-hand side of the base. Now, if this pulls back, forms a handle, which would be ideal, then you've got another swing low where you can manage risk against. A logical spot where it would form a handle and kind of a pullback too would be kind of, the 37 area. You've got a lot of these highs lining up around there. And that would be ideal. And if the 10 EMA catches up, the 21 EMA catches up again, that would just kind of add fuel to the fire and make the setup that much better. But up here, you don't want to be buying, having missed this move because you feel like you're missing out. Instead, you want to be patient, wait for your setup, wait for the opportunity to show itself where you can manage risk tightly and logically against a swing low, against, a moving average, against the low of the day from a tight area. That's what you might want to be waiting for. Right up here, it's been a powerful stock. It's kind of shown itself. And now we'll just have to see if there's a follow-on setup that you can profit from as a swing trader or position trader, and more in the swing trade mindset because this is a recent IPO. So you want to size a little bit lower and just sell a little bit more aggressively than, a more mature growth name that's really on a powerful trend. So that's kind of my thoughts with this name. Let's see if there's any other names I want to go through. QFIN I did want to highlight because I pointed this out in the newsletter, and this is another great moving average pullback tight area from RMV going basically to zero for quite some time, and then nice explosive move. This is China related, but this actually set up before they did. And this has been acting super well, and basically pushed 30% in just a week and a half. So definitely a name that's been strong. Crowd reclaimed the 200-day moving average, so we'll see if this is back in play, and it's been acting a little bit better. You've got the higher low forming, starting to respect the 21 EMA again, and we're back above a rising 200-day. So This could just end up being a nice base, a nice big base. But they are being impacted a little bit in their estimates. So we'll see actually what happens with this name. You've got this gap right here that it's pushing into. So we'll have to see what happens with this name. CEG we talked about, but this is again nice move off the 21 EMA. App, this has been a powerful name, just trending above that 10 EMA. This is another good example of that, right near the base pivot up the right hand side, pull back to the 21 EMA, compression, RMV going to 0, an explosion higher, and a really nice trend after this, and just grinding higher here. I'd love to see it kind of base and re-break out from a flat base up here. But it's just trending higher, doing nothing wrong above the moving averages. KVO, this one, a little bit wicky up here. It doesn't like to close at its highs, which to me suggests there's a little bit of selling going on, but we're grinding higher. We're at this kind of key level here, this prior high. So I'd love to see it pull back, base against the 21 EMA, maybe love the 50 SMA, even catch up, and then push higher. But it did form a little bit of a tight area versus the 10 EMA, and down here we had that same 21 EMA pullback after a show of power. It tried to test this level, got pulled back from that, and then push higher after the pullback. And there's a great way to buy pullbacks versus the 21 EMA. Look for low RMV, tight areas right near that key moving average, and that's often a really good spot. You've got that outside day, that's your buy point right there, and then you're immediately at a profit. You can ride it. Your cost basis is below the 21 EMA. You can just manage it, versus that. And there's a lot of peace of mind with that. Just letting the moving average do your work, and not thinking too much about a stock that's already in a trend and is progressing for you. Less is more in that circumstance. Zeta, this has just been a really powerful mover, nice upside reversal today. And it's progressed well since this base pivot and breakout. Again, you've got that 21 EMA pullback before it did break out from that setup. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Actually, let's do AABA, of course. This has been a name I've been tracking for quite some time. I started to notice the average volume increasing, and we had a news of new technology. We had an analyst upgrade as well on this day, causing the gap up, and it's acted really nicely since. Really great progression the second day, and then a little bit of fade today, but it already moved so far in the week. And let's go over to a 65-minute time frame and talk a little bit about entry tactics. So here, this is the close of that day. And the next day we had a push lower on the open and then reclaim up. And we actually kind of dipped and recovered again. You could have acted on it, shortly after the open in the first 30 minutes as it kind of broke through that high of that prior day, setting your stop at the low of the day, which I think would be in about a 2.2% stop, I think is what I had. And it's progressed immediately from that point and just grinded higher the rest of the day. Not an amazing close today, but overall you're at a nice profit already in a potential, nascent stock that is just starting to move up the right-hand side. So, if you can manage risk tightly in this circumstance and just kind of let it base out and reclaim higher and let the moving averages catch up, that's your goal. And, at this point, before it breaks out here, there's going to be other opportunities. So if you're not already in it, this is a name that's just showing itself based on price and volume. It's starting to move higher, and it should be on your radar going forward to see if there's a pullback to the 10 EMA, 21 EMA, another base, whatever the entry point and setup you use is. Point is, you should have this name on your radar. It's in the semi space, and it's just kind of a name that's currently in play, and has some nice momentum going for it. Good growth numbers as well. And we'll just have to see if it continues to progress and starts a nice trend. Let's see if there's any other names I really wanted to touch base on with NVIDIA, and then we'll do PLTR real quick. NVIDIA, again, just tight up here. We'll see if it pulls back to this level. Again, if we do pull back, I think this is a key level to trade against. You've got the 10 EMA rising as well. PLTR just moving higher. Nice action, reclaiming, moving off the 10 EMA, going tight, going up again, and just kind of grinding higher, just trending higher. So this is good. That's finally making progress. Really nice action from this name. Great growth numbers, although a little bit of slowdown expected in the estimates. Let's see. DocuSign. This one, Nah, won't really touch base on that. It's been a little bit choppy, but it's actually been showing itself. It's funny, the 2020 names are kind of coming back into play. We've got PLTR, DocuSign again. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. So sorry if I rambled a little bit, but thanks so much for sticking with me. If you're watching thus far, let me know your thoughts on the market down below. I'd love to hear it. And if you have a few names that you'd like my thoughts on, let me know down below in the comment section. I'll try to give you guys, whatever I see, I'll let you guys know down below in the comments. And let me know if you have any questions as well. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Take care, and I'll see you guys in future videos.